Hello and welcome to another weekly episode of The Parenting Business, the podcast for working parents, business owners that have got kids, and just where we have a bit of a rant, a bit of a chat to people all about balancing the parenting and business life. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify or wherever you listen. Do also feel free to get in touch with your stories or top tips about how you balance your parenting business. You can either leave us a comment or drop us an email at podcast@parentingbusiness.com. Also, if you like what you hear, please share the podcast with other parents and business owners. And do leave us a 5-star review because it really helps. Yet again, it's myself and Ben here. And today we've got a guest joining us in a little while too. So let's just crack on with the show and we'll have a little bit of a chat first. Ben, how are you?
Very well, thank you. I hope you're both having a lovely week.
That's both of the listeners.
Both of the listeners. I probably wasn't quite clear there, wasn't I? Yes, both of the listeners.
I think we might have more than 2 listeners now. I think we might have got a third.
We have. My mother said she listened to one the other week, so that was nice. All jokes aside, I know I downplay it and we stay humble. We are doing all right, aren't we? We know 50, 60 of you have started listening to us in the last 6 weeks or so we're thrilled with that.
We do, and actually, some of those recent episodes, I've been looking at the stats, and you know, we're actually getting some of you following us, or some of you listening. But as I said, if you're listening to us, please do follow us on Spotify or wherever you listen to us on, just so that you can stay updated with our ramblings each week. That's enough of adverts, anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm even getting messages and phone calls. I've had 2 compliments today. One of them was the podcast and one of them was from work. And I just had a phone call out of the blue. Hello, mate. Not seen you for a very long time. Listened to your thing. Really enjoyed it. Had a great time. Shall we catch up soon? Certainly, that was nice.
I must admit, I've had a bit of positive feedback, mainly about your rants, though.
Yeah, I had that. Yeah, it does. I'll tell you exactly what somebody said. And a very handsome devil called Steve, who follows us, who got in touch to say, I particularly like it how Stuart's quite good at winding you up. Sometimes it takes him a few goes and then you just go off on one and blow your top. So, brilliant. Is that what people enjoy? But there we go. If that's what the market wants, that's what we'll deliver, or try to. It is genuinely unscripted as well. I had no idea what we're going to say before we start, largely, do we? So that was good. And as I'm on the topic of compliments, I had another one today. This one was for my little factory, and someone got in touch who used us 4 or 5 months ago. Cracking product, absolutely top notch. We are going to order again. Really, really happy. You were too expensive for us, though. Is there anything you can do? And I said, well, did you say you were going to order again anyway? And he said, yeah. He says, no, there's nothing I can do. Sorry. We are stellar or twice, reassuringly expensive. And yeah, that was great to hear. So very happy with 2 compliments today. That's I'd sometimes go weeks, months on end without receiving one.
You're doing really well. You're doing well.
It's been I'm not doing well on every front, but I was quite happy with that.
You just need the third one now, and it to be from your wife.
She did say the other day that yesterday she came and told me that she's made plans for Valentine's Day with one of the other mums from Twins Club. So there was 2 or 3 seconds of, okay, Valentine's Day, you're going with one of the mums. And then it just hit me like a freight train. We've been together 13 years. I think I've remembered Valentine's Day twice. So it's sort of fair enough, isn't it? She's fully aware of how useless I am on all matters, and she may as well make plans with one of the other mums from Twins Club. So yeah, fair play. Must try harder, Benjamin.
Hold on. I can understand missing a birthday or an anniversary to an extent, but Valentine's Day is advertised everywhere. Adverts on TV, when you walk into any supermarket, anything, in the months leading up to it. How the hell do you forget that Valentine's Day exists?
I don't forget it exists, but it's more, you see all the adverts for 2 weeks prior, 3 weeks prior, And you think, oh yeah, I'll sort that near the time, Yep, sort that tomorrow. Yep, I'll go and do that. Okay, need to do that. And you never bloody do until the morning. I was like, oh, fuck's sake. So I've got to get up first thing in the morning, dash off to Tesco on your way to work for a bunch of flowers in a car. Because I'm too disorganised to do it properly like everybody else does. So must try harder, Benjamin.
Well, I was going to say, considering you're kind of the master of process now with work, and
that's
planning things in.
Done quite well. I've done quite well there. If I say so myself, that's gone all right. But I hear you. Personal life is the disorganised mess that the business used to be. So
this seems to be a running theme. Actually, I think we talk about this every episode.
Do we? I thought that was the budget.
The business. No, you've not mentioned that for a while now. So I think we're escaping with that. What else has been happening in your world anyway, other than not planning for Valentine's Day?
Not planning for Valentine's,
roughly 4 weeks,
and receiving compliments.
Yeah.
Well, it's back to the norm, really, aren't we? We're third week of January now, so dance class is back on, swimming's back on, nursery's back on. So tired tantrums are in full swing. But it's nice to be back to the norm and a bit of routine. We've missed routine.
Are those tired tantrums that you're having or that the kids are having?
Both. Completely both. Completely both. Staff normally grind my gears a little bit, although that's not been too bad lately. But no, it's good. The only thing that's happening at the minute is what's Mr. Trump doing with Greenland, someone who I don't so much dabble markets or trade. I research very thoroughly companies I like, buy them, hold them, and I've done quite well, if I do say so myself. If brokerages relied on me, they'd all go bust because I don't do much with the portfolio. And it happened twice last year, I think, when Mr. Trump decides to rattle the world's markets, and you tend to feel the pinch, and I'm feeling the pinch after the first couple of days this week. They've tanked a bit, but I'm not day trading. I own actual shares of equities of what I think are pretty good businesses, and they tend to just bounce back in the coming weeks. It's like drops like a stone and rises like a feather sort of thing. Everyone will panic after a few headlines, and then there'll be a bit of a negotiation, a bit of a chat, and it's all slightly slowly get back together. And the thing that does me a little bit is, yes, I'm not exactly a fan of Mr. Trump's style and how he goes about things. However, read his book before you start kicking off. It is his what's the wording here? Operatus Mandi, operator, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Go big, go hard, big headlines, piss everybody off, and then slowly row back. And then from there, you get the best deal you can. But you're starting with something absolutely mental and then rowing back a bit. So it doesn't concern me that this is going to get, but I hope it's going to get resolved, but it doesn't worry me too much because that's what he's done all his life. So those that are losing their mind at the minute, read his book, pipe down, let's just see what happens over the next couple of weeks. So
yeah.
It's not a panic as such, but it's a bit like, oh, fucking hell, here we go again.
So there's two things with that. One, yes, I'm sure that technique works quite well. And yeah, I can see it working and why it works. The main point, though, is that book, he didn't write that. The guy is not capable of stringing words together to form a sentence, let alone a book.
We're apolitical, aren't we? I'll leave you with that one. See if our 3 listeners agree or disagree. Please write in. But no, I think we ought to calm down a bit. Let's not all lose our minds and rise to it. But it certainly presents interesting challenges along the way. And obviously that reflects through all of us.
Yeah, I think the whole Greenland situation, well, we'll see what happens over the coming weeks and how that unfolds. But yeah, I can't see us going to World War III. So that's fine.
I can't see military action from anybody. End of the day, all the old NATO bases from the Cold War are still there. Let's just spruce them up a bit and start using them again. Give him his mineral deal that he wants, because that's what it's about. It's the minerals in Greenland. He didn't kick off over us. We're a bit hypocritical here because we had Keir Starmer come out today and give it the. Or was it yesterday? Let me try and remember what he said. It is the democratic right of the people of Greenland to decide their future, which is 100% true. It's absolutely spot on. But he wasn't saying that to the Chagossians. People of Chagos didn't get a say on their future. They just went, right, fuck off, Mauritius is buying you. What's this embassy thing as well with China?
That's true.
That niggles you. This embassy in China got MI5 saying this is potentially dangerous, that they could cause some real damage spying on our infrastructure. Don't approve the embassy. So he's approved the embassy. What's
the new
some
super
things?
embassy.
What's going on there? What's China got over you, Prime Minister? Because we're giving away the Chagos Islands, this embassy. What else is there? So not impressed there. But
we shall see.
We shall, won't we? Again, let's not get all flustered. Stay calm, and we'll.
Yeah, I suppose. Let's come back onto our lives and business lives and parenting lives. We've got an awesome guest about to come on.
This is the best-selling author of a few years ago that we mentioned, and is coming to talk to us about many things, including his 5th book. But we'll be interested to hear his stories and tales of children and spinning plates that we all do. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've read a few of his books, so I think it's time to bring him in, have a chat with him, and see what he's got to say about his life, his career, and how he balances it. So we are joined this week by a #1 best-selling author, a dad, a former civil servant, and he's just about to launch his 5th book and is the self-proclaimed laziest hard-working person out there. So welcome, John Lamerton.
Oh, thank you, gentlemen. Welcoming me to the Parenting Business Podcast. Great to be here.
How are you doing today? What's your day? Let's just start with that.
Okay, my day has started, and we're talking parenting, aren't we? So my day has started by dropping my eldest to college. Sorry, no. My day has started with forcing my eldest out of bed so that he can go to college, and dealing with my youngest, who is not too well. So she's actually in bed, and we're deciding whether she's going to school or not. And at the moment, no, she's not.
Oh, bless her. How old are your two?
I've got a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old. So I feel really old now, because a lot of what I've been thinking about in preparation for this podcast was when they were born, when they were little, and now they're big, old, smelly teenagers.
That's actually handy for us, because our kids are both quite little, so we can feed off you.
I can warn you about what's to come, can I?
You can. You totally can.
And funnily enough, we were chatting about on a recent recording the fact that our kids are both really young, or are all really young, that we're dreading, or I'm particularly dreading, the teenage years, teenage girl.
I'll give you a bit of advice then, Stu. Someone once said to me, and this was the parent of a young girl, I think it was 8 at the time, and he said, young girls are easy until they're 8. Young boys are hard until they're 8. And then it flips. So enjoy it while it's easy.
4 more years.
Yeah, I've only got 3.5 years until she turns 8. So
yeah, enjoy it while it lasts. That's all I'll say.
So, first thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that your book, Big Ideas for Small Business, your first book that you released, that was the book that introduced me to you. And actually, that was the book that changed the way I run business.
Oh, wow.
So I've kind of followed you right the way through. We've previously had a guest on that Ben was bromancing over. I think you're going to have to be my bromance for this. And now you've gone through various things. You're just about to launch your 5th book, Retention First. So just tell us a little bit about that journey. You started as a civil servant way back when. You then had a change in, I suppose, mindset, as I discovered in your first book. And then you've gone on to do lots of other things and focus a lot more on what you call your ambitious lifestyle business.
Absolutely, yeah. So civil service, that was kind of the path I was put down by my parents. I actually wanted to work in sales or insurance or marketing. I was told by my careers teacher I couldn't work in marketing because I live in Plymouth. And apparently We don't do marketing in Plymouth. You have to move to London if you want to do marketing. That was complete BS. But parents said to me, no, you can't go into insurance. You can't go into sales. You need a nice, steady, secure job for life with good promotion prospects and a brilliant pension. Civil service it is. What they failed to tell me was that job was just mind-numbingly terrible, to the point whereby I absolutely hated that job. And I would do anything over the weekend and the evenings to avoid having to go in the next day. One of which involved learning how to run my own business. So take you back to the summer of 2000. I've moved departments within the civil service. I'm on the 3-week induction training course for my new role. And I decide on about day 4 of week 1, this ain't for me. And I am not going to stick out here. And I look at the people who've made it through the training and are doing the job. The average lifespan of a person in this department is 18 months. In my previous role, it was about 20 years. So they don't stick around. The press is full of internet millionaires. All it's the Brent Holbermans, the Martha Lane Foxes were all, lastminute.com founders. They were the poster boys at the time. The Google guys weren't even around yet, but it was just all these people were having, like 20-something-year-olds were becoming millionaires just for having an idea. You didn't need to be profitable. You didn't need to have an actual business plan. All you needed was a domain name ending in .com and a rough idea of something cool. And I thought, I can do that. So I launched my internet marketing business in literally the 3-week period of my induction period. Internet marketing business, 3 problems with that. Number 1, I'd never run a business before. Number 2, I knew nothing about marketing. And number 3, I didn't even have access to the internet, let alone know anything about internet marketing. So I didn't let that stop me. I worked my ass off for 18 months, got myself out of the day job. And then basically, Ben, I spotted Alan Sugar's book on that shelf behind you there.
I think there's a few you'd like there, John. If
There
I'm
are a
honest, we'll
few.
come back to that. Maybe
Yeah.
all of them at a later stage. So there's what you see or what you get, and there's the way I see it.
Yeah. What you see is what you get is the one that really, really inspired me as a 20-something-year-old. I was earning about 12 grand a year in the civil service. My first year full time in the business, I went to earning 100 grand a year. And then suddenly The Apprentice appeared on the TV, Dragon's Den appeared on the TV. Suddenly running a business in this country wasn't boring and staid anymore. It was suddenly a bit cool. The first person to really inspired me was Richard Branson. And it sounds so strange to say this in 2026, but he inspired me because he would say, you don't need to wear a tie. And that sounds really ridiculous in this day and age, but that is what things were like a quarter of a century ago, that if you're in business, you wear a suit and tie. You polish your shoes, you go to the bank with your business plan. You don't just buy a domain name, chuck a web page up and hope for the best and get a minimum viable product out there. You can't work in a hoodie and your bloody jogging bottoms and slippers from home whilst there's a dog sleeping under your desk. You can't do that. But I did that, and then I took it too far. And Alan Sugar then took me on I would put my business journey in 2 halves. First half, pure ambition. Alan Sugar, I'm coming for you. I'm going to be the next host of The Apprentice. You know that opening shot of The Apprentice, the opening credits, where he's on the yacht and there's the skyscraper in the background, and then he gets out of the Rolls Royce to get onto the private jet. Yep, that's what I want. That's going to be my life. If earning 100 grand a year is great, earning $1 million is going to be better. Earning $1 million is going to be good. Earning 10 million is going to be better than that. I was there suddenly, I'd gone. So August 2000, all I want out of life is not to have to work a day job. August 2003, I want £100 million and a skyscraper with my name on it, and a yacht, and a helicopter, and a massive mansion. And I want all of this. I just chased that. Second half of my business journey is the ambitious lifestyle business. And again, Alan Sugar's got a lot to answer for there, which I think we might talk about in a minute. But yeah,
Yeah,
It coincided, really, it was children. Having kids was the pivotal moment, and there was a little Alan Sugar moment in there as well.
I think I can relate to that. Maybe a lot of people can, and if you're listening and can relate to some of that, the sky's the limit. No stopping me now.
Yeah.
Ball in a china shop, all bluster and no brains. Off we go until you hit the skids a bit, and I hit the skids a bit just after I had children, and you kind of find a little bit of a way through that. And to be honest, I'm still kind of finding my feet a little bit in certain areas, but this is where you come in with the big idea for me.
Yeah.
I don't work very hard at the minute. I've made more than I've ever made at the minute. Granted, it's nothing to brag about. Not that I'd probably brag anyway, but I'm doing quite nicely. Thank you very much. Minimal effort to the point where I'm wondering what to do with the rest of my time because I'm never going to play golf. I don't have the trousers for it. But the big thing is your big idea, John.
Yeah, it's figuring out. I was in some kind of seminar once, and the guy at the front said, "Right, you're all going to write down your ideal job description, and you're going to figure out what you want from your businesses, and you're going to write it down, your ideal job description." And I'm sat there, and I don't know, I'd like to do this role, and then the more I thought about it, it was like, actually, I do know what I want, and what I want is to do what I want, when I want, where I want, how I want, if I want. And that's what I wrote down. It's like, that's all I want from my business is freedom to do what I want at a time I choose, the way I want it done, in a location, whether that's working from home or working from a beach. If you've ever tried working from a beach, you know it's not everything it's cracked up to be. If I want, and it's that freedom to go, do I want to do this today? Or would I rather be playing Lego with my son? Would I rather be playing dolls with my daughter? Would I rather be helping my kids to do something? Would I rather be sacking everything off and going out for a walk with the dog? And in many cases, yes, I would.
So you've got dog as well, have you?
I have, yep. So Chewy, the cockapoo, is currently snoozing under my desk. I think just having a dog inspires you to be more dog, because it is, as we record this, 9:46 in the morning, and he's having his second snooze of the day. Already, the minute he's had his breakfast, he's like, "Dad, let's play. Let me get a ball and we'll go and play." And he gets his exercise, and he does his downward dogs. He does his he does his yoga, and he has a fun, and he's always present. He can. He knows we're talking about him. That he's just like, there you go, downward dog.
There's a downward dog.
Oh, there we go.
He's doing his morning yoga.
He is well trained, is he? Literally on command. He knows I'm talking about him. He's like, right, let me go and demonstrate in the background, Dad. But yeah, dogs are so present, and I think we could all do with being a little bit more dog, just taking things in our stride, being a little bit more chill, and just enjoying life a bit more. That's why we started our businesses in the first place, was normally to solve a problem that isn't being solved somewhere else, or to create a life for ourselves that doesn't jar up against, I'm going to say, working for the man, and certainly working for the government. They don't get 80-20. You know the line, "We've always done it this way." That is an absolute badge of honor in the civil service.
Yeah.
Like, we will not change because we've always done it this way. And they fully accept that is a valid excuse not to change. We've always done it this way. It's like, do you want to be the person who's going to rip up all the bits of paper that we've got in the store cupboard? No, you don't.
And I think I spent some time working in government. And it is exactly that. It's exactly that. Oh, you're working at 2:00 in the morning? Yeah, that's normal. What? This is why we all have tiny little rooms that we pay thousands of pounds a month for in London, because we don't spend any time in our own houses. We're either at work or we're at the pub.
That is the only place civil servants do any work, is at the pub.
Yeah.
Not all bad then.
Yeah.
So you've got a wife, 2 children, and a dog.
Yep.
You've changed your life around hugely by the sounds of it. So you went from working all those hours to balancing. You said you made that decision.
Mhm.
What was it that led you specifically to that decision? And was there a kind of an epiphany moment for that you needed to change your life, change where things were going?
Yeah, definitely. And I'll say it was kids. So I had my first child August 2009. We found out that we were expecting December 2008. And I know we've talked a little bit about stock market investing.
Yeah, something happened that year, didn't it?
I think something might have happened
Something
around
might have happened.
2008.
Yeah, they made a film
Um,
about it.
Sorry,
It's right.
we've got someone at the door. Dewey's just going to announce that someone's at the door. And he goes,
That's the other great
yeah,
thing
come on in.
with a dog, though,
Nothing-
isn't it?
Nobody for you. Nothing for you
The
to
other
see
great
here.
thing with a
There
dog
we
is you
go.
always know when someone's at the door.
Yeah, exactly. We normally get an early warning system of there's a little grumble and someone might be coming in the house. Yeah, 2008, something might have happened. I think I've probably still got the scars from all the knives I was catching at that
Yes.
time.
Okay.
But at that time, I was running the big, ambitious, pure ambitious business. Let's go big. Let's go massive. I was also doing, I'm going to call it medium-term stock trading. Okay, not investing. I was trading. I wasn't day trading. Christ, I'd have absolutely no hair left. You'd see the backs under the eyes if I was day trading. But I was short-term trading, and I was doing very well at that until 2008, when I suddenly wasn't doing quite so well. And I was still doing some investing. And then we found out that we were expecting. And on the day that I found out my wife was pregnant, I sold out of all of my holdings. Caveman John came in and went, "Me must provide for family.
Yeah.
Me must be safe now." It just suddenly, literally my attitude to risk just disappeared immediately the moment I found out we were going to have kids. Because until then, I was just playing a game. All right, if we lose the house, we lose the house. So what?
I get it.
And it suddenly came, well, if we lose the house, my child will be homeless. I am not living on the streets with my child. The second epiphany happened about a year later. So I've now got a 3-month-old baby who suddenly has become my absolute world. And I am just obsessed with this kid. I was in an MOT garage. So my car was due for its MOT. And typical me, I need to fill every hour of every day. What am I going to do when I'm sat there for an hour waiting for my MOT? I know what I'll do. I'll take Alan Sugar's book, What You See Is What You Get, with me. So I'm not going to waste any time sat there for an hour waiting for my car to be MOT'd. I'm going to read about my hero, who, remember, I am going to be the next Alan Sugar. So I'm keen to learn about Amstrad in the kind of late 70s, because that's the period I felt I was in his journey. Like, right, what was he doing then that I can replicate now? And sure enough, he did give me an absolute epiphany about the way he was running his business and his life then that I could absolutely use in mine. And it was one line. And he said, "I never really saw my kids much when they were growing up." And I just went, oh shit, that's not what I want from life. And then like the neurons were firing in my brain. And I just remember thinking, hang on, I've recently read Richard Branson's book. What was the first book called? Losing My Virginity, I think was the first one. Whichever the first book was.
Whatever it was, yeah.
I remember a line in that book. So I literally came home and I'm flicking through this book, and sure enough, there it is. Never really saw much of Holly and Sam when they were little. Like, oh God, these heroes of mine didn't see their kids when they were growing up. Now, full respect to both Richard Branson and Alan Sugar, they were having kids literally 2-3 generations ago. That was the norm. Okay. I'm making no judgment on them whatsoever, other than that's not what I want. Remember my ideal job description, what I want. That's not what I want. So therefore, I need to stop running my business in a way that is the complete opposite of what I want. What I want is to be there for that child. I want to be, when he reaches school age, I want to be the only dad that's at every sports day, every assembly, every parents' evening. I'm doing school drop-offs. I'm doing pickups. I am doing everything. If that child needs me at any point in his life, I'm there, and I'm there at a moment's notice. You want taking to college? I'll take you to college. You want picking up at 1 a.m. because you've got he's 16. Obviously, he's not drinking at 16. I'll do another. You want picking up at 1 a.m.? Fine, I will pick you up at 1 a.m. So we pretty much decided, okay, he's going to go into nursery aged, 9 months. We decide we're going to co-parent. Okay, so my wife's going to go part-time. I'm going to go part-time, and I'm going to do some daddy daycare days. She's going to do the nursery runs on some days. We're going to share everything. Now, I'm working 100 hours a week in my business prior to this. So literally, it doesn't fit. It doesn't compute. I cannot do the 100-hour weeks and spend all day Wednesday with my son. I can't do a 1 p.m. nursery pickup on a Monday and a Tuesday. I cannot do that and do 100 hours. Well, I could, but the only way I can do that is to stick my child in the corner whilst I get my laptop out. To be the parent who's at the park pushing the child on a swing whilst looking at his phone in the other hand. And I'm not going to be that dad. I'm going to be Chewy. I'm going to be completely present. I'm going to be there. And so it was that 80-20 thinking. And one of the, I don't even see it yet, top shelf on my book, 80-20 principle, Richard Koch. Now, I read that book a couple of years ago. I'll be honest with you, I didn't think I needed to read it because I understand the 80-20 principle. I know everything about it. No, I don't. I've highlighted so much in that book. But I applied the 80-20 principle. I thought, okay, if I only do the 20% of stuff that brings in 80% of my revenue, then first and foremost, the hours fit. I can do this co-parenting, nursery, pickup, daddy daycare. I can do all of that, but I'll be on 80% of the money, which is fine. I can live with that. Now, that's not what happened. What actually happened is because I was suddenly not, and I can swear on this podcast, and I know I have already.
Yeah,
It's
of course,
encouraged.
go for it.
It's encouraged. So I can stop pissing about with the 80% of stuff that brings in 20% of my revenue. And actually, when I thought about it, it wasn't 80% of stuff that brings in 20%. It was the 90% of stuff that brings in about 1% of my revenue. It was sitting there pressing F5, refreshing my stats. It was, oh, look, there's an interesting blog here. Let me just read this. It was pretending that this stuff was actually work, and it wasn't. If I cut all that out and I just focus on the revenue generating stuff, suddenly I'm more profitable. So I actually ended up doing 20% of the hours. And instead of getting 80% of the revenue, I got 150% of the revenue. My earnings went up as I earned less, as I worked less.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make sense, does it? Well, it does when you realize that I was suddenly working productively, because if you've ever gone on holiday, there is no more productive time than the day before you go on holiday. If you know your child is going to sleep for about 2 hours, those are the most productive 2 hours of your life, particularly if you know they can wake up at any moment.
And they do. Words you just said there was, sorry,
Go on, sorry, Ben.
something you mentioned there was when you realise. You work with small businesses a lot. We all know small businesses quite a bit.
Yep.
We in our varying networks, shall we say. That is such a common thread when you realise not many take the time to work on their business. They're too busy running around like a tit in a trance in their business to see the wood for the trees.
Yeah.
So you've seen the wood for the trees, you're making 150% with 20% of the time.
Yeah.
Why don't we all do that, John?
Because I think the main reason is when we get started in our businesses, we do whatever it takes. Okay?
We do.
That requires a lot of trial and error, a hell of a lot of energy, and just a load of, I'm going to say it, hustle, which is fine to get you off the ground. But if you are in a 737 and you achieve launch velocity, that requires a hell of a lot of energy. When you get to 30,000 feet, you don't keep the afterburners open. You don't keep dumping fuel. You go into cruise control and you go, right, okay, we're at 30,000 feet. Let's level out. Let's get the trolley out and let's have a cup of tea, shall we?
I've never heard that analogy, but when you're at velocity dumping fuel, as you say, you get in the cycle, debts, pressure, shareholders,
Yeah.
demanding customers, and you're pedaling, and at me at least, you got to keep borrowing to keep the orders coming in to keep up with demand, a new machine for this, and you just, what the fucking point?
Yeah, it's a hamster wheel. We had a meeting with some of our 1%ers last week, and a word that kept coming up was trapped. I'm trapped by my business. I've got the debt. I've got the massive payroll to meet every week, and I'm trapped by my business. And when you dive into, well, how did you get trapped? It was very much, well, I said yes to this. And this opportunity came along, so I said yes. And because I said yes to that opportunity, we needed to hire another 3 members of staff. Because we hired the 3 members of staff, we then needed to get more orders in. So we got more orders in, but then suddenly we got in too many orders. So we need another 2 members of staff and a bit of machinery. Now, we couldn't really afford that, so we had to take on some debt servicing. Now, it's only short term, but the interest rate on that isn't good. So therefore, that's really impacted our cash flow, which means that we need to get more orders. So we need to take some orders from people who we normally wouldn't do business with on terms we wouldn't choose to. But that's okay. It's just a short-term decision. And then, have you ever seen Breaking Bad?
Yes, I felt like Breaking Bad a
Yes.
couple of times.
Yeah. So,
Homicidal maniac rage.
the average business owner is mild-mannered chemistry teacher Walter White. And they end up building Heisenberg. They turn themselves into Heisenberg. And if you look at Breaking Bad, how does that happen? It happens one episode at a time, one decision at a time. He doesn't flip into Heisenberg overnight. He becomes Heisenberg by saying yes to this. Oh, when the first body crops up, he has an opportunity to go to the police and say, we've done this. No, let's dissolve the body in acid, which leads to another problem. And then so on. And then you end up trapped. You end up sat in a house alone, dying of cancer, with your $100 million pile of cash going, where are my family? All my friends have gone. I'm not giving any spoilers out here. Well, I have given some spoilers out. If you want to watch Breaking Bad, ignore everything I've said over the past 90 seconds, right?
I think lots of business owners have done that before, where you chase the money rather than chasing the life that you want. Because you think that the life that you want is all about the money. And I think that's a really good point.
Yeah. I see it time and time again. And it's because we need money. When I first started, I needed £1,500 a month. If I had that, my mortgage was paid, I could have some nice holidays, I could afford my, car payments, things like that. Everything, life was good. £18,000 a year. That's all I needed. When I was doing $100,000 a year, literally a year, 2 years later, that wasn't enough. Because that guy over there was doing $250,000 a year. And that guy's doing $1 million a year. And I want that. How the hell did I get on that hamster wheel straight away that I've gone from £1,500 a month being everything I ever need to suddenly, I need to do $100,000 a month just to, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, buy shit I don't need. I don't like.
And at that point, John, when you were thinking, shit, I need to do all this money a month, how was that affecting you mentally?
I came back, that MOT moment, I came home and I spoke to my business partner, and Ben and I were literally talking about I'm impacting his life as well. Now he had kids a couple of years before me, so he probably realised this already. And I said, look, I want to rip up all our contracts. I no longer want this huge business. We are going to, and I literally came up with that ambitious lifestyle business that day. It was like, what I want, because I was figuring out, what do I want? And what was going around my brain was lifestyle business. But I also had Peter Jones from Dragon's Den in my ear hole. Not literally, but just in those early days in particular of Dragon's Den, an entrepreneur like me would come on the show. They'd maybe have a hoodie and jeans on. And he'd rip them a new arsehole. And he would say, you're not wearing a suit. You're not, again, going back to the whole thing, Richard Branson not wearing a tie. You're not taking us seriously. This will never be a real business. This is only ever going to be a lifestyle business. He was so disparaging of lifestyle businesses that I had that in my mind going, I want a lifestyle business, but I don't want Peter Jones to tell me off because I'm not taking this seriously. I'm not. And it was always, like, oh, you've given up to make cupcakes in your kitchen for minimum wage. It's like, no, I have still got ambition, but I want a lifestyle. And it's like, well, could I have an ambitious lifestyle business? And I now think of it as a pendulum. So at one end, you've got ambition, and at the other, you've got lifestyle. And if you go too far in one direction, the pendulum naturally pulls you back. If I spend too long at the lifestyle end, and I don't do any work, and I'm on holiday all the time, I will just sit there craving doing something. Like, come on, let's launch something. Let's do a marketing campaign. Let's get some business in. Let's actually achieve some goals. Conversely, if I spend too long at the ambition end and I just go Gary V on your asses for 3 months, but this quarter is a sprint. Quarter one for me of this year is intense. I have got a book to launch. I've got another business that I need to overhaul. Got some massive. I've got a live event plan. Huge sprint. Followed by a massive holiday. And me doing the square root of bugger all because I would have spent a long time at this end of the pendulum and it naturally. I wrote in Big Ideas for Small Businesses about like work-life balance being like a seesaw. There's no fun if you just sit on the middle of a seesaw. It doesn't go anywhere. You've got to get to either end. And now I think of it as that pendulum. Pendulums are great fun because you could just ride them from one end to the other and they're like a pirate ship.
That's interesting, and it proves I've not read all of the Big Idea. But you don't set your week out as much as I would imagine a lifestyle business might. It's more you can work your socks off here, but then put your feet up on the other side of the seesaw.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting way of looking at it. And how does that affect family life? Because presumably, and I'm guessing here, would your children have a similar mindset because that's what's instilled?
Yeah, very much so.
Going forward.
We homeschooled our kids for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So my son we homeschooled for 1 year, and my daughter we homeschooled for 3 years. So they've kind of grown up with. I've tried to impart. My wife is a teacher. Okay, so she taught me what I'm going to call real subjects.
Yes.
Okay, the maths, the English, the history, the geography. That was there. I did basically PE and personal development. Okay. So one of the first things my kids learned was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Okay. I will never forget their faces when I had to explain to them age, 10 and 8, what taxes are. No, you don't get to keep everything you earn. You get to give about half of it to government who will waste it.
Yes.
And they were not very happy with that. But yeah, in terms of how it affects home life, right now my door is closed. My family understand that if my door is closed, I am working and I am doing intense, normally deep work. I cannot be interrupted. I will not be interrupted. They don't come in, they don't make noise, things like that. However, the only way a closed door policy works is if you open it afterwards. Because if my door is shut all day, every day, then I'm Alan Sugar never seeing his kids. So as soon as we're done with this call, that door's open. And that means that literally, if my daughter has something to show me on her phone, Dad, have you seen the latest thing I've done on Breast and Flex? Oh, lovely, let's have a look at it. When they come home from school or college, they just wander straight into the office and talk to me. And I interrupt no matter what I'm doing, as long as that door's open. It's just that simple. I am either present or I'm not. I mentioned the dad, one arm pushing the swing, one arm on the phone. No, I'm either fully in email work mode, or I am trying to get this swing to do what athlete do. I'm trying to do a loop on that swing. And it's just being either all in or all out.
That's interesting. My upbringing was very much the father is pressing and I'm in the corner sweeping up for them. So that's something I could maybe mull over for when mine get a little older. I've got one more question on it, and then I'll have it. If you don't mind me asking, what was the reason you decided to homeschool?
In a nutshell, the broken school system.
Okay. So the quality you were receiving at
it was so both of my kids have additional needs. So
Okay.
I've got one who's specially blind, and the other has an ADHD. So there's a lot going on. And originally, it was my son who had the most pressing need. During his early schooling, school loved him. And they kept saying, he's a sponge. Oh, he just absorbs it. He loves to learn. And every year, though, we'd go into parents' evening, and it would just become a little bit more, his focus isn't quite there. And, he needs to concentrate a bit more. He needs to work on his handwriting. Yeah, he loves to learn. And then suddenly it became less of he loves to learn and more, I don't want to go to school. And he would become a shell of himself. And that every summer, we would go on holiday. We'd have him here for 6 weeks. And he would be bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, full of life. He'd go back to school in September. And by Christmas, he'd be a shell of himself. And the breaking point for us was January. It was going back to school after Christmas, and he would have been 8 years old, 9 years old. He was at primary school, and he was talking about suicide, and he was talking about I don't want to be here anymore. And it's like, where has this come from?
8 and up.
And we took him out initially just as an emergency. It's like, right, this needs to come out, and the support. I'm going to say support in air quotes because we had no support from school. School headmaster told him he should cry in his head. Don't cry out loud. Cry in your head. We went to the local authority to try and get some help. We said, look, our 8-year-old's talking about suicide. Help. And they basically said, you can't have any help until he's already tried. Come back when he's attempted suicide. He's only talking about it. Come back once he's attempted. Like, that's not what any parent wants to hear. So that really, really worried us. Our daughter, severely sight impaired. She has some sight. So she has 25% vision in one eye, 2% vision in the other eye. So very little. But she copes. Oh my God. She works hard at everything. She gives her all to anything she do. So school would tend to forget that she's blind. And that's strange, but they would honestly, and they would say to her things like, can you see what's on the board? And she'd say, yes, because she can see what she can see. She might not be able to see what they can see, but they didn't ask, can you see what I can see? Or they didn't say, can you see the 5-digit number on the board? They just said, can you see what's on the board? You can't. It's like asking negative. So things changed her head, let's say, talking about suicide. My daughter broke her arm. They had nothing on that day. So they thought, well, let's just let kids run around the field where there's a net sticking out. She can see it. Tripped over, broke her arm. So yeah, we decided, well, I'd already decided a long time ago. I just needed to convince my wife that this was the right thing to do because she was a teacher. She believed that the school system should support every child, regardless of their needs. The school system should bend to accommodate each child. It doesn't do that. And it took, she needs to convince her to quit her job first. So yeah, she went back to school. September 2019. Day one was a teacher training day, so no kids in. And she went into school and she had a doctor's appointment for something else on this day. So she went to the doctor's and she walked out of that doctor's with a 3-month sick note for depression and anxiety because she broke down in tears in the doctor's office. She wasn't going there thinking she was depressed. She went there for something else. She ended up in tears because she couldn't face another year at school as a teacher. So she ended up being signed off. And that then turned into an ongoing battle. Look, let's homeschool the kids. We were homeschooling kids before COVID lockdowns in 2020. We were ahead of the game. But we suddenly noticed that my daughter, for example, with a visual impairment, school had assessed her. One of the ways they assessed her, a blind child, was by seeing how quickly she could read words on a flashcard. See that word? Great. Fantastic way to figure out the actual reading ability of a blind child. So we assessed her after 6 months of homeschooling. She'd moved up 2 years. She made 2 years of progress in 6 months. And by the time she finished, she would have been top of her class because we could customize. Again, it's the 80/20 principle. We no longer pissed about doing the stuff that doesn't make any difference. And we suddenly went, right, what are you interested in? Oh, you're interested in the Egyptians. Right, let's study the Egyptians. Let's go deep on that. Let's make maths, English, history, science, everything around the Egyptians. Let's do that. Let's go, what are you interested in? Let's dive in. And yeah, I could do the personal development. And it became an education that was custom to those kids. My wife ended up actually writing a book about it as well. How the school system fails children with needs.
Yes, they
and
do.
what you can do about it. So
I've got an autistic brother who was passed around like you wouldn't believe, and basically didn't have a school, and it's a different story. And so I'll talk about that another time,
yeah,
Stuart, perhaps.
Oh, I mean, secondly, my son,
But
autistic, was told, "Could you just be less autistic today?"
yeah, okay, you got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a baffle to the school system.
Yes.
And
I
mean, it's a babble.
exactly the word. It is a battle.
We can babble on about it as much as you like. Appreciate time's oppressive, but well done you for taking the reins, the bull by the horns, as it were, because that is the most important thing in life, right?
It is. But again,
how your children get on.
What I want. And
you know,
what do we all want out of our children's education? The school system will tell you that what we want is currency. We want the GCSE certificate that's going to enable them to get a job. No, we want them to be happy and confident.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we want. Able to function in the world. They just think, no, it's all about a bit of paper. It's all about the league table.
But that's their funding model, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Funded model.
So when we said to the primary school, look, we're taking those kids out of school, the headmaster said, "Did you just leave your son in?" Because the stats were coming up, and he was one of the top kids in his class for the stats. Daughter, obviously they weren't assessing her quite well. So literally, you could just literally going, I don't give a shit about your children's well-being, but look at my league table. You're going to hurt my spreadsheet, and I'm going to look bad in front of the Multi-Academy Trust CEO.
There's a 7-letter word beginning with B, isn't there, for that?
Yeah, well, we just done the cry in his head.
Yeah.
And during that time of homeschooling, John, how did you manage to kind of nurture relationships of your kids with other children of kind of similar age? Those things that happen at school, that must have been a bit of a challenge, and I'm sure is a worry for other parents who are potentially thinking of homeschooling.
Yeah, definitely. I think the socialization is one of the things that you really worry about when looking at homeschooling. By the way, my wife is going to really, really tell me off for saying homeschooling. Home educating, apparently. Homeschooling. Sorry, Sarah. We were really, really surprised. So until you investigate homeschooling, you don't realize how many other people are doing it. So we discovered there's a huge homeschooling community within our local town. So we organise events. There's Facebook groups, there's WhatsApp groups. There's people running forest schools, art schools, My wife now does sessions, so she is now actually doing maths and English for other parents who are homeschooling. So if you're homeschooling your kids, come along. Literally, I think if we record it in about an hour's time, it would be very noisy because the classroom is below my office. But they have a brilliant time. There are local businesses that run homeschooling socialization events. We've got a cliff and climb wall here every Thursday. There's a heavily discounted homeschooling session. Let's face it, they're empty during the day, during the school day. Brilliant. Bring homeschooling kids in. I think they pay £3 a session as opposed to the tenner it normally is. The one thing I spoke to my wife about this a couple of months ago, and she said the benefit of hindsight, she's seen a lot of children come through the homeschooling system. She said, if you look at the kids who've been homeschooled for 4 years, 5 years, notice how much more confident they are. Notice how they're able to communicate and relate to adults in a way that people who've gone through the school system of sit down, be quiet, line up, sit in your rows, put your hand up if you want to talk, you want to go to the toilet, ask permission. Those people don't have the confidence, they don't have the self-confidence that a lot of the homeschooled community do. And it's being able to make your child's education what you want, when you want, where you want, how you want. The if you want is probably not optional because you do have to provide your child with an education. But you can decide exactly all the others, where, when, how, and what you actually choose to work.
And what was it like
That's interesting.
for you as a dad homeschooling and trying to run a business at the same time?
Again, very clear separation. So for me, it was Monday mornings, Wednesday mornings. Those were my Mr. Lamerton is now teaching. It's literally between, I think we started at 9. So we started at 9 with my son, my daughter again. Again, simple thing, visual impairment. All right, she got very, very tired. She works very visually, it's very hard. She has a lot of eye strain. So we start our school day at 10 a.m. It's just literally, you have an extra hour in bed. School system, no, you can't do that. Sorry, I don't care that you've got a visual impairment and you literally feel sick every day and you have migraines because your visual strain is so hard, tough. We start at 10 to 9. No, we start the day at 10 a.m. But yeah, I would just block it out and say, look, I'm not available at those times. I don't answer my phone. I don't check emails. I'm completely off. 1 p.m., I hand the kids over to Mrs. Lamerton. They go into her session and I'm here and the door is shut and I am getting shit done.
So all for you about timing.
Yeah, it's my second book, Routine Machine. I wrote the book on routine. You designing the routine that works for you. So it took a little bit of trial and error to find that routine, but it very, very quickly became right. Monday mornings, Wednesday mornings, that's school time. One of the things we went through with the kids, Tim Ferriss recommended it. It's a massive thick book. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was something like the Book of Family Values or something like that. And every week we'd go through this book and each kind of 2 or 3 pages would be one value. And I would read those pages to both kids and then we'd have a discussion on it. That was 6 years ago. And I reckon I could still say to my kids now, go and do your cleanliness routines. And they'll know exactly what that means because cleanliness as a value was discussed. We discussed it. And then every now and then we come back to it. And we literally had a session every week on values. That's all we did. And it wasn't me preaching to them. It was us having a discussion. What do you think cleanliness means? What do you think consistency means? What does trustworthiness mean to you? Can you give me an example of someone who isn't trustworthy? What would you do in this situation? The book gave you lots of prompts. Really, really good. It's not designed for homeschooling. It's just a book of family values. And at the end of it, you can just say, is that one of our values? Do we value that? And there is no right or wrong answer. And it's just so powerful. Who in school is doing that with your kids? Who is actually having a conversation with them and valuing their opinion and their thoughts and finding out what they think without imparting their own opinion on them?
You've opened a door. for me at least, because you're almost giving them ownership. You're
Yeah.
not dictating this is the rules of the game.
Yeah.
You own part of the rule. You're not
Yeah.
just expected to follow.
Yeah, we're going to have an education.
Mm.
What would you like your education to look like? I haven't
Yeah.
even mentioned the benefits of term time holidays yet, have I?
You've not got to that.
I actually used to work in alternative education with kids that were excluded.
Yeah.
And the values and all those discussions that you had homeschooling are exactly how we teach children that are excluded from education, because they're taught in exactly the same way and using exactly the same beliefs as homeschooling.
Yeah.
Because it's far better for them than a classroom.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
And I can't understand why schools don't pick up on that and don't learn from that and use that.
It's because the teachers haven't got enough time. They haven't got enough resources. There isn't enough money. There isn't enough time, and the government are just constantly throwing red tape at. Again, it's a civil service model. We've always done it this way.
Yeah.
Like when my son first went into secondary school, they gave him a copy of Matthew Syed's book, You Are Awesome. It's a basic personal development book for teenagers. And I thought, this is brilliant. They're talking about growth mindset stuff, constant never-ending improvement, neuroplasticity. Brilliant. And that was all they did, was give them the book. They didn't do anything that was in the book for the next 5 years. They just pretty much did the complete opposite. But someone somewhere ticked a box because they just went, yeah, we've given them a book. It's all about personal development shit and stuff like that. Great, happy days. Anyway, back to working hard and sitting in silence and doing lines. I don't know if you do lines still.
It kind of links on to the growth mindset as a whole, and what I've learned more recently. So going back to what you said near the beginning about you earn 150% now for 20% of different. I've kind of changed my own game, and I'm halfway there before I'd come across your wonderful self. But I've changed. I plan very well now, and I've got a bit of help to do it, some of which from your colleagues. I plan very well now, and I see the wood for the trees because I work on the businesses, not just in them. And it's as simple as that. There's not much more to it.
It's not,
as far as I can tell. There's not much more to it. There's perhaps some structure around how you plan, and to quote Ray Kroc, I plan, I execute.
Yeah.
Done. I plan, I execute. Go on holiday, John.
Yeah.
And I think that brings us on quite nicely to your 1% Club, for which I was recommended I take a look at by Stuart 6 months ago.
Yeah, it would have been
7 months ago, something like that. And I've tried a few. I've got a mentor I'm very happy with. He's been with me for years. He's very good at strategy and numbers. But I wanted 2 or 3 cooks stirring the pot.
Yeah.
Not just the. And what I really like, what we've learned, Stuart, me and you, is we really like the peer group. We're in a manufacturing network up here, and we like there's 600 odd members. Somebody has been through the same shit I'm going through.
Yep.
That element is very strong. Part of the reason I chose yourself and not some of the others is the price.
Yep.
It is, you do not have to spend £1,000 a month to get somebody's good ideas. What are you, 100 quid?
Yeah, 117 a month.
That's including the VAT, so you get the VAT back. It's 95 or whatever.
97.50. Yeah, there you go.
97.50. There you go.
Straight off. This is how you teach business owners percentages, VAT, isn't it?
Yes.
We can work out what 20% is. We used to be able to work out what 17.5% was quite quickly.
Yeah, I haven't been able to do that for some years. But the logic behind it, I signed up for the peer group mainly. And when I've got thoughts, ideas, I might do this, might do that, what do we all think? That's so powerful, it's amazing. I recently went into a session with your partner, Jason, thinking of doing this because I'm struggling to find an MRP system, so manufacturing reporting program, to run my factory at the click of a button. It's pretty good at the minute, it needs to be better. They're either bloody expensive, too complicated, or the cheap ones don't quite cut the mustard. I can write my own. And straight away, a man who's never worked in manufacturing in his life, he's a former nurse, I believe,
Yep, that's right.
said, someone else I was speaking to last week wrote his own. He pays 50 quid a month. It took him 30 hours. And I was like, that has probably just saved me 400 quid a month. Peer group.
It is amazing. I mean, it's something you hear a lot, isn't it? Everyone quotes I think it's probably originally Jim Rohn. Everything goes back to Jim Rohn at some point, doesn't it? You're the average of the 5 people you hang around with. I think everyone quotes that.
Yes, I like
I
that.
don't
Yes.
think enough people actually live by that and actually curate. And it's not necessarily who you spend the most time with, because who I spend the most time with is my dog and my family. But it is just, who do you choose to spend a little bit more time with? Because you will see that, and it's basically the osmosis effect. And we see it within the group now, that when we first launched the 1% Club, by the way, that's not to be confused with the 1% Club, which is the Lee Mack game show. Okay, we had our name first. Okay,
You did.
2016, we launched the 1% Club. When we first launched it, myself and Jason, my business partner, it was very much almost like a mentoring thing. It was just like, well, we've been there, we've run 60 odd businesses. You get the benefit of our experience. But as it's evolved over time, it is now genuinely less about myself and Jason and more about us just facilitating the connections between the network. And it is that, in computing terms, you'd be aware of the network effect. The more nodes you add to a network, the more valuable the network becomes. So it is with the 1% Club. Again, we priced it quite deliberately. So 117 a month is not expensive, but it's expensive enough that we weed out some of the people who maybe wouldn't contribute as much to the group because maybe they're too new in their journey. Because it's priced at a level that it's a little bit painful, people tend to do stuff with it. If we could make it, I don't know, 50 quid a month, people go, nah, it's only 50 quid a month. Time you take the VAT off, it's a little bit less so. It's only 40 quid a month then. But making that price, it forces people to actually engage. And I think the connections, and like I say, the like-minded group, I call it now, it's a bunch of smart friends. And the smart is very, very important. You're not just taking advice from random people. You're taking advice from smart business owners who've been there and done it and got the t-shirt, who there's no horse in this race. Okay. They don't care whether you choose option A, option B, or option C. But they genuinely want to see you succeed. They have got your back. And you know that you are getting impartial advice. And don't get me wrong, you will get contradictory advice from different members of the group. And that is good, because you can then decide who to listen to. But what I love about the groups, again, the meeting I was in last week, we had some common issues. And it was very much related to 80/20. Pretty much 3 of those business owners were doing stuff that was the 80% that drives 20% of the revenue. And they were moaning that they didn't have time to do the 20% of stuff that brings in 80% of the revenue. They didn't have time to go after high value clients because they're too busy serving tons of low value ones. And what I found interesting, we kind of helped, say, the first business owner, the second business owner. By the time we got to the third one, he was getting advice from the first business owner on how to leverage and how to do 80/20 thing. And we're just like, mate, do you want to listen to your own advice? He's like, oh yeah, I didn't see that. It's like, yeah. And we're all good at giving advice to other people. We're not so good at giving ourselves advice. And I think that's where being part of a network. We've got a hot seats call today. So that will be probably 15 business owners coming on, literally just asking random questions. What is the greatest, roadblock in your business right now? What opportunity have you got that you want to get a sounding board on? And I love these meetings because even if you've got if you come to this call and you've got no question, there's nothing you want to get out of this session, I guarantee if you just sit there for 90 minutes with a blank bit of paper and a pen and let your mind wander and ask yourself one question: could I do that in my business? You will come up with ideas. Your brain will just fire up and go, that person is looking at, optimizing Reddit to get mentioned in AI. Wonder if I could do that in my business. This person is, building a new custom CRM system for 50 quid a month. I wonder if I could do that in my business. This person's moving their business out to Spain. I wonder if I could do that in my business. This person's homeschooling their children. I wonder if I could do that in my setup. And it just creates that osmosis effect that, again, much like my daughter, can you see what's on the board? You can only see what you can see. By being part of a network group, you get to see what everyone else sees. And that sparks more ideas and more inspiration and less time wasted for yourself as well.
There's a great advert, isn't it? But it's completely true. I vouch for some of that. I really would.
And we've said on a number of occasions, being part of a network, being part of a group is very cathartic. Just that hearing that other people have been through it, that can sometimes just be enough to go, okay, breathe. I'm not alone. I'm not the only person that's experienced this. So they got through it. Maybe I can get through it too, or I should be able to get through it too. And whether that's signposting to other people for support, or whether that is as simple as, yeah, they've been through it. Okay, what am I going to do?
Yeah, or are currently going through it. I spoke to one of our one centres a couple of weeks ago, and this chap is really struggling at the moment. Life has dealt him some tough hands right now, and he came on a call and was open and vulnerable and said, "Look, things are shit right now." And I've been part of business groups where people turn up and they say, "How's business? Oh, great, wonderful, everything's brilliant. Yeah, everything's great." 6 months later, "How's business? Oh, we shut down. We weren't making any money. We've been loss making for the last 2 years." Or "How's things at home? Yeah, brilliant. Oh, yeah, 6 months later, I'm divorced. I've got a major health problem, but other than that, everything's fine." And we encourage people to be completely honest. And I hear again and again how useful other members find it, knowing, and again, that line, I think you used there, Stuart, knowing that you're not alone, knowing that the horrible shit that you're going through, 15 other people have gone through that, and 2 other people are currently going through it. We had one member, he's had a bit of a major health problem in the last couple of weeks. Right, I can connect you to someone else who's had that exact same health problem 2 years ago. And he's just ahead of you on the journey, and he will happily share with you what's going on.
I think that's why we do this, Stuart, isn't it? You came to me with the idea a little while ago. When you go through hell, you think you're on your own. That's when I met Stuart. I was going through the worst of it, and Stuart parked his head up, says, "I did it last year. Here's what I did."
Yeah.
And it's like, right, okay, chunk the problem down. Here's what Stuart did.
And I think it's when we get to that really, really low point, whether that's linked to business, linked to personal life, you're thinking, well, there's nowhere to go. If somebody just turns around and says, "I'm going through that too," or "I've been through that." And for me, I hit the lowest of the low personally, business wise, to the point that it was touch and go whether I would be here physically. And I talk about that. And I found so little support, but I think that was because I didn't look for it. It was that male ego thing of, I've got to provide, I've got to do this, I've got to, I can't tell anybody that I'm struggling. And I think it was when I opened up and said, hold on, I am struggling, to somebody, that the floodgates just opened. Do you find, John, that when people join 1% Club, that they're often coming on to start with and they're super quiet, they don't want to talk, and then do they gradually open up?
Yeah, very much so. We've got a deliberate onboarding process now that is designed to tease people out of their shells, to ease them in gently. Because I know, for a lot of people, joining an existing network is scary because everyone else knows everyone. Everyone knows how it works around here, how the calls work, what the format is, what's expected. And again, it's going back to school. No one wants to look silly by putting their hand up and asking a silly question. No one wants the spotlight on them. So we deliberately tease people out. Ease people in gently, but also encouraging them to be open. And I think the main way we do that is just demonstrating through others that this is the way we do it. We have a member of the month award. And every month we just say, "Oh, well done to this person. They've won. They're our member of the month." And then we say, "Here's why." And again, we're going back to values. This person is being highlighted because they were struggling and they put their hand up and said, "I'm struggling." 7 different people reached out to help them. they're now working through their problem. Not they've solved their problem and everything's happy, and, they're living their best life ever, but they're getting help, and we're rewarding them because they put their hand up. And next person, we're rewarding them because they did the Ray Kroc, I plan my work, then work my plan. Someone else, because they reached out and helped others. And it's just all the values that we want within the club, we signpost on a monthly basis to say, well done to this person. And it's really just saying, this is the kind of business we want. This is the kind of culture we want to run it. You can do that within your business. If you've got, a medium enterprise, you can say, here's our employee of the month. But rather than just saying, here's our employee of the month, why? Why are you rewarding that person? And if you've got a small business and only a handful of people, you don't need a employee of the month. You just need to tell that person why they've done well this week, this month. Notice when someone is doing something that is of value to your business and just highlight that to them. I read a report I think this might have been a Daniel Pink book, that the two words thank you and the two words well done are worth about 500 quid in bonuses. It's a level call. You can either give them a 500 quid bonus or you can say well done or thank you.
That's interesting. I obviously heard it was important that the homework that someone's done to say it's worth £500.
Yeah. It's the same, cognitive benefit to the employee or the financial reward, because most bosses don't show that they appreciate the hard work you've done. If you have gone above and beyond and it isn't recognised in any way, you're less incentivized to go above and beyond again. And again, if you just reward it's going back to dog training again. I'm sorry, but it is reward behaviour you want to see.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Good boy, Chewy.
Have a biscuit. Yeah.
But it absolutely is, and it's strange because I've got dogs as well. Had dogs for a long time, and this is going to sound quite harsh to children, but kids, people, and dogs are exactly the same.
Yeah,
they're exactly the same in how they respond to training and how you reward them. Hey, we reward them in different ways, but actually they go through the same processes mentally. And so I can absolutely get on board with that analogy of people are like dogs, because they are. We all are.
Yeah, absolutely. I've spotted a Warren Buffett title on your shelf behind you there, Ben.
Oh, this is meant to be Stuart's love in with you. Go on.
Okay.
Go on. No, go on. The Snowball's up there. One of my favourite books.
Charlie Munger.
Yeah, I love Charlie Munger.
Sorry, where is Charlie? There's Charlie.
He's not. Go on, yours.
There's Warren. There's Charlie. Yeah.
Yes.
Charlie is also down there. Poor Charlie's almanac on my value.
That's on my list of things to buy at some point.
But I mean, Charlie Munger basically said you can ignore all the strategy and all the tactics and just look at the incentives. What are the incentives that people are being given? Because incentives drive the world.
And this links back to your Peter Jones comment. Little point. The incentive is the turnover.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was actually a conversation with Doug Richard, one of the
right.
I think it was season 2 and 3, very early seasons of Dragon's Den, American tech investor. And I actually happened to get to know Doug a little bit. And it was around that time that I was having I want to have a lifestyle business, but what would Peter Jones say? And Doug Richard just went, lifestyle businesses, the only thing about a lifestyle business, it's got nothing to do with cupcakes and kitchens. It's just got everything to do with bottom line thinking. Lifestyle businesses optimize for profit, real businesses, and he actually said, as Peter Jones thinks, is top line. They're just concerned with how much money they can turn over. Yes, they want to keep some of it, but he's worried about top line turnover. Lifestyle businesses just want to be profitable, and they can be far more profitable. Instead of Tasco getting their 2% margin, you can have 25% margin. And therefore, you don't need to turn over as much. You don't need to work with clients that you don't want. And you don't need to run a business that isn't suitable for you and your family and the lifestyle that you want. And that's why, all the business owners I speak to now, particularly those with established businesses, I say to them, stop optimizing for your business. Stop trying to get your business to be as efficient as possible and make as much money as possible. Let's optimize for your lifestyle. And that may require a more profitable business, a more efficient business, one that requires less time. But let's go lifestyle first. And not enough people do it. Everyone, there's this idea percolating in my brain now that most small businesses are only successful because they've got a founder willing to work all the hours that God gives at 100 miles an hour for less than minimum wage. And they've got an employee that's completely devoted to the success, to the point they will lie awake at night worrying about this business, and they don't want much money. That is the reason most businesses are successful. But
we've all been there, haven't we?
Successful, but the business owner isn't.
Which brings me to something I did a while ago and read in your book later. What's your hourly rate, John?
Yeah.
Don't tell me, but yeah? I get a wage and I made a profit. Divide that by the 30 hours a week I put in. I'm left with a number. Is this task in front of me worth that number?
Yeah.
And if it's not, don't bother.
I built an actual hourly rate calculator, put it on my website.
Right.
And that's actually the reason that my wife quit her job, was because I made her fill out the numbers. So she was a, quote, part-time teacher.
Yes.
She was only working 60 hours a week. She was paid for 26 of them. Seriously, she was doing a 60-hour week. As a part-timer, she was doing 60 hours. She worked all day, pretty much all day Saturday, all day Sunday, every evening, plus the 12 hours or whatever that she was, 10 hours she was in school 3 days a week. So we worked out, here's what you're paid, £26,000. Here's the hours you're working, about 60. Your hourly rate is £8.50. You're earning £8.50 an hour. And then we went to read.co.uk and we looked at some jobs. So look, you could start at McDonald's tomorrow and get £12.50 an hour. Literally, you could flip burgers at McDonald's and earn £4 an hour more than you're getting paid now.
Brings it into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Brings it into perspective.
Yeah. And again, for most business owners, the greatest way to increase your hourly rate is just work fewer hours. Particularly those hours you're pissing about, hitting the F5 key, working on social media. You're not working, you're scrolling.
Yes. So, something you mentioned earlier, I'll just bring into here. When you're burning velocity launching the aeroplane, you probably can't do too much of this. As soon as you level out, systems and processes is what runs a business.
Yeah.
McDonald's does 75 burgers per second worldwide, all to the same standard.
Yeah, I love that. And again,
go to your process.
I had a conversation with my kids that were abroad. There's an advert for McDonald's, and I just said, like, what's that advertising? And my son first of all said, McDonald's. Yeah. What are they advertising? A burger? No, they're not. I said, what are they advertising? And the sign basically said, well, actually, there were three different signs. I think one said, I don't know, McDonald's cheeseburger, 99 cents. The other one said McDonald's, 1 minute, and then an arrow pointing to where it was. And I can't remember what the other one was now. But I said, what are they advertising? I don't know. I said, well, that one's advertising value because you can get a cheap burger. That one is advertising convenience because it's just around the corner. And that one is advertising, I think it was like speed of delivery. Like 1 minute, you're going to get your burger. So that's what they're selling. They're not selling burgers. They're selling convenience. They're selling value. They're selling consistency. That was the other one. So you could be anywhere in the world, order a Big Mac, you know what you're going to get. Consistency, value, convenience. Those are core values of McDonald's. The reason they could do 75 burgers a second is because they've got systems absolutely designed around the values. And those values are predominantly the same values that Ray Kroc put into place 70 years ago.
It's something like it was the 50s when he founded McDonald's, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
If you've seen that film, which I dare say, I'm going to move on a little bit because time's a ticking, and it brings us nicely on to something McDonald's also do.
Retention.
The thing we got a copy of.
There we go, I got mine.
We'll join in. Very kind of you to send us an advance copy.
You're very welcome.
We have had a little flip through. I get it entirely because me and Stuart are both manufacturers and we predominantly deal with the same people week on week.
Yeah.
We supply warehouses, distributors, etc. But this kind of takes it to another level.
I hope
Where
so.
did the grey matter come from to
So I
make
think
this your next book?
all of my books come from the same place.
Mm.
And they come from the conversations that I've had within the 1% Club, normally over the previous couple of years. And all of my books start as an idea in this little notebook here. I've got book ideas in here that will never see the light of day. But I'll normally get a little seed of an idea, jot it down in there, percolate it, throw it out to the 1% Club, see what they think. And this idea of retention first, it's just been screaming at me for probably 5 years now. Because, and it's predominantly big businesses that I see do this. They don't put existing customers first. They put new customers first. I'm going to have to be very careful because I changed the names in the book. So in the book, there is a completely fictional company, which has nothing to do with Richard Branson. Honestly, they're called Emerging Media, who I fictionally had a conversation with regarding my broadband a couple of years ago, whereby they wanted to charge me 63 quid a month for my new contract. I went online and saw that I could have the exact same deal as a new customer for £27 a month. So they want to charge me nearly 3 times as much. And I had a big argument with their customer service rep. Why do you do this? Well, everyone does it. Why do they do that? Why am I being penalised? Why is there a loyalty tax? Why don't you look after your existing customers? The more I went down this rabbit hole, the more I see all business owners doing this. Even the small business owners, they say they look after their clients, and yet they spend most of their time marketing for new clients. They spend most of their time looking over the shoulder of their existing clients, the next person they need to talk to. From the gutter cleaning company who came and 4 years ago now, I believe, cleaned my gutters, charging me £140. Now, they were doing Google ads, so I clicked on one of their paid ads. They paid for the sale. They paid for a £140 one-off sale, as far as they're concerned. They cleaned my gutters first time in 10 years or 20 years that I've had it done. They're just walking out the front door. And I say to this chap, how often should I have my gutters cleaned? And he said, oh, well, we recommend once a year. And okay, I look at him and he looks at me and he goes, see you later then.
Yeah.
And goes in the van and drives off. And I'm like, hey, I just showed you an open goal there when at the very least, well, I booked you in for 12 months' time would have worked. Even better, let's stick you on a direct debit. Why don't you pay instead of £140 a year? Why don't I stick you on £12.50 a month direct debit, and I'll just come out in 12 months' time and I'll just do it for you. Brilliant. Never mind the fact that on the side of the van and on their website, they claim to do window cleaning, patio washing. Now, I've got a big glass balustrade out here. That needs cleaning twice a year. I've got a massive patio. That needs doing twice a year. I've got 13 windows that need cleaning once a month. That guy could have left with a £50, £60 a month direct debit, and all of my cleaning needs could have been solved. But he didn't put attention first. He went back to Google Ads and went, how do I get another £140 out of a brand new client? How do I convince someone to part with cash again? And this, you can tell this is a soapbox thing for me, can't you?
I can, but I completely get it. I completely get it. It's easy money. I mean, he misses more open goals than Plymouth Argyle. We need to point this out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Another one, actually, very quickly. So it's all companies that have pissed us off, basically. 3 weeks ago, we had a problem with our washing machine. We got it insured via, I'm not even going to say the name of the company, but big washing machine company you've all heard of. No, I'm not going to try and change the name live on a podcast. So my wife rings them up, says, hey, we've got a problem with the washing machine. Yeah, no worries. We'll get out to you in a week's time. Okay, fair enough. Week later, the guy comes out. No, can't fix it. We need a special part. Be another week, maybe 2. We're still without a washing machine. This is now currently week 3. I went away for business last week. I come home. I go to get something at the freezer. I notice that something's not right. It's not right here. Something's tingling that's not right. Where's the light that's normally here? Hang on. This bread's a little bit squishy. It's not solid. What's going on here? I look over. someone's unplugged the freezer. Sure enough, it's the guy who came to do the washing machine. So my wife gets onto the WhatsApp support of this big company, where she gets a reply that says, if someone's here, we'll get back to you. If they're not, we'll get back to you the next working day. Right, great. Then an hour later, are you the account holder? Please tell us the make of the washing machine. Please tell us the part that's broken. It's like, look, I'm trying to tell you something's gone wrong. You're trying to force me through your system.
Mm.
You need to go through security. And it took 7 hours for them to eventually say, we're not here today. The following day, she eventually gets one. So it took about 17 hours of constant hassle. And I talk in the book about hassle factor. For a customer service rep to eventually say, yeah, we're not going to do anything about that. You'll have to contact your insurance. Nothing to do with us. We don't give a shit was the message. And I just thought, this is where businesses need to understand when things go wrong, how do you deal with them? Because people don't expect perfection, but they do expect you to give a shit when things go wrong, apologize if things have gone wrong, and put them right. And that's all you have to do. And you have to do that in a fairly timely way, in a way that causes as little hassle to the customer as possible. I had some issues, actually, ironically, with the Retention First books. Some of the books I received were not good quality. They were printing errors. I was passed through 4 different customer service reps where I had to explain the problem multiple times. They then offered me a refund of £8.76, which I said, excuse me, I've ordered 300 books. I don't think it's £8. Oh, yeah, we're sorry, we've refunded the wrong item. Having to explain the issue again, being passed from pillar post, and it's just anything that causes hassle. There were some stats in the book. If a customer comes to you with a problem and you resolve it without hassle, there is a 94% chance that person will return. Sorry, 96%. 96% chance they will return again. If you have the same customer with the same issue and you resolve it, but there is high hassle, i.e., you leave them on hold for half an hour, you tell them, oh, you've come through to the wrong department, speak to someone else, explain your problem again, there is a 94% chance that they won't return. So literally the difference is 10x. 10x loyalty is lost. But literally that company with our washing machine, my wife and I have said, the minute they fix that washing machine, we're cancelling the policy. We're done because of the hassle of something's gone, not because something's gone wrong, but because of the way they have handled something going wrong. We're done.
I mean, one way to think about it is when you keep people happy and keep them returning, it's the same effect as compound interest.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get another customer, that's great,
yeah.
but you keep the ones you've got, that's compounded.
Yeah.
The rest of your business life if you look after them, right?
Exactly. And we all know the stats, it's more expensive to get a new customer than it is to keep an existing one. Existing customers buy more often, they spend more often, they refer more people, they leave more reviews. Everything is more positive with existing customers. And yet we still ignore our existing customers. Go, right, again, I need more money in the business, so I need to make more sales. I need to do that launch velocity of Google ads, Amazon ads, Facebook ads, posting on social media. I need more business. And then I say to someone, so when did you last email your existing clients? Never is the normal response.
Not even at Christmas or anything to say happy Christmas, thank you, people. Nothing.
John, I could have actually probably forewarned you about your experience with that certain company, because I did exactly the same about 18 months ago and came to the same conclusion as you. So when we say someone's already been through it, yes, I've been through exactly that, came to exactly the same conclusion. That once that job was finished, I cancelled my subscription to their policy.
Yeah, that's it. And your lifetime value just stops dead.
Yeah.
And lifetime value is it's the one metric through this book I implore people to absolutely obsess over. I actually worked out my lifetime value with Amazon. So
yes,
it's quite difficult to do, but you can literally, if you go on customer support and say, look, please tell me everything I've ever bought from you. They will send you a spreadsheet. You can then do a sort on it, find out. So I've now just ticked over my £70,000 I've spent. I've spent more money with Amazon than I spent on my first house. And it all started with a, I don't know, £13 PC game that I bought in 2001 when Amazon was just they sold books and DVDs and games. That's all they did. I spent £70,000 because Amazon have obsessed over customers. They still, with a few exceptions, managed to impress me with the stuff they do just to reduce my hassle factor. When things go wrong, I've had, things go wrong, wrong items been delivered, faulty product been delivered, message Amazon, and just instantly gone, yeah, you don't need to return the item, we've just refunded your money. Brilliant. Great, just instantly sort it. And even self-serve now, where they just go, would you like to keep the item and we'll give you a partial refund. Everything they've done, even, I looked at some item the other day, they have a little label on there, frequently returned item. In other words, I wouldn't bother buying this if I were you. This isn't going to be a very good quality item. When based off first one reviews on books, people said, you're crazy. Why would you tell people these books aren't very good? Your job is to sell books. And he just said, my job is not to sell books. My job is to sell people the right books that they want to read forever. And it's that contract obsession with over the customers.
Something Amazon are excellent at is the upsell. They'll give a Wetherspoons a run for their money on people who bought this also bought that.
Yeah.
But something which hopefully rings a bell, or it will do. Would you lose a sale to win a customer?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's
you write about that in here, I believe. And
it's Zappos, who actually Amazon ended
right. That's it.
Their telesales staff are trained. If you ring them up and say, I'd like to buy this particular pair of shoes, and Zappos don't have it in stock, yet one of their competitors do, they will say, we don't have it in stock, but I don't know, you can tell I don't buy a lot of shoes, can you? What's a shoe company that you would go?
No idea. It's three blokes here, Sadik, Clark.
Timberland. Clark. There's women just reeling off 10 or 20 now.
I get my shoes at Christmas. That's about it.
They are trained to literally say, please go to one of our competitors have that shoe in stock. The shoe you would like, in the size that you would like, we don't have, but Clark's do. So, go to Clark's, or they'll send you the link to buy it directly from Clark's, because again, their attitude is it's not about today's sale. It's about winning you as a customer, because you will know that if Clark's don't have it in stock, they'll just say out of stock, and you've got to go hunting yourself. Whereas if you ring Zappos, say, have you got a size 7, whatever, have you got a size 10, yeah, we've got it, or no, we haven't, but here's someone that has. It's being a trusted advisor.
And I think you mentioned that in the book, that there's 2 words that the customer needs to hear. And those 2 words are I care.
Yeah, absolutely. Because most businesses don't, that feeling of the washing machine, couldn't care less. That vibe that comes through is not my problem. And there's a little exercise I say in here called, imagine you've got a playing card. Anytime there's a problem with a client, you've got a playing card. On one side, there's a chap, and he's giving it the old shrug, and he's saying, well, it's no big problem. It's not a big deal. And on the other side of the card, he's putting his hands up in a kind of surrender mode and going, it's the end of the world. And whenever you've got a customer issue to deal with, you pick up that playing card and you look at it and you decide, I'm either going to be, oh my God, I'm so sorry, it's the end of the world, or, well, what are you complaining about? It's no big deal. But whichever side of that you're looking at, the customer is going to see the other side. So if you give it, well, I don't see what the problem is, no big deal, we ain't doing anything about that. The other person is going to go, oi, no, screw you. And this, again, be careful how loud I say this, because she's in the house. But my wife, with a local pizza restaurant, New Year's Eve about 5 years ago, we are banned from ordering from this pizza restaurant because they shortchanged her 76 pence. She rang up and they went, I don't care. It's 76 pence. You should have read the deal properly. He was like, well, you've shortchanged me. hung up on her. That's it. She went down there, stand it rather. He threw the 76 pence at her. That was it. We've never gone back. Now, if he had gone, oh my God, I'm really, really sorry about that. Look, it's New Year's Eve. I'm really busy at the moment. Look, I promise you, honest on my hands, heart, I'm going to get this sorted for you next week. She would go, fine, it's only 76p. Don't worry about it. She would have taken that different approach. And it's very easy to see that when you have that mea culpa, and some of the best results we've had are actually when things go wrong and we can turn it around and make it more than right, compared to, well, I don't know what you can blame them about. And you might say that to yourself. You might say that guy says, bloody hell, this person likes to moan. What would give me 76 pence?
If it's important to the customer.
Exactly. And
should we want you?
If the customer feels that you don't care and you don't feel that their problem is important to you, they will take umbrage with that.
How many pizzas do you buy in a year, John?
Wow. I would say we probably have pizza a couple of times a month, I would say. We've got a very good, there's a very good van locally. These like food trucks. It's just brilliant business model because they don't pay any rates. They just rock up in a part of town. They literally order it on the website, and they make really, really good pizza. So we are allowed to order from these guys now. The problem I have with them is their reliability. So again, going back to McDonald's, I can go to any country, any city, anywhere in the world, order Big Mac. I know what I'm getting. The amount of Saturday nights we have gone to get a pizza from this van, they're not there. Why are they not there? Oh, well, we had an event. Someone paid us more money than our regular customers. So we went and did a wedding or we went and did a local market or something instead of serving our town on a Saturday night where we are every Saturday night, and building that loyal base of retention first based custom around being able to guarantee on a Saturday night that you can get the best takeaway pizza there is on offer.
So your first pizza shop has lost your trade for a fortnight for 5 years. That's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And your second pizza shop is unreliable, so you're probably and ah whether you're going to try them this week or not. That's a lot of money when you're times by how many people are in exactly the same boat. It's not that difficult, is it?
It's not. It's really not. And then it comes down to the other option. We get to a Saturday night. They have got like an app. You can find out if they are where they say they're going to be. Again, consistency. Do what you say you're going to do. I open a book with that. Most businesses don't do what they say they're going to do. So we're in insert name of town every Saturday night. Brilliant. Until you're not, because you've made a promise. You've got a contract with the customer that you're going to be there on Saturday night. If and when you want pizza on a Saturday night, we'll be here for you, unless we get a better offer from a new customer who isn't paying us every single. Sorry, I'm soapboxing again.
But it's true, isn't it?
So before we go off on a complete tangent, John, tell us, when is the book Retention First coming out? Where can people get it? And my big question, when's the audio book coming out? Because I listen more than I read.
Yeah, absolutely. So all formats of Retention First will be coming out on February the 26th. So it'll be on Audible, there'll be Kindle, there'll be paperback, there'll be hardcover. You can get that on Audible, you can get it on Amazon. If you type my name, John Lamerton, into Amazon, you will come up with all of my books. They're all available there now. I think they're taking pre-orders at the moment for certainly the audiobook and Kindle versions of Retention First. But if you go to my website, bigidea.co.uk, if you pop your email address in there, I'll let you know when it comes out. And obviously there'll be some kind of launch offer as well. I haven't planned what that's going to be yet, but of course, you guys know, how can I write about this stuff without sending my existing customers a copy first? I need to make sure you guys get it first before anyone who is yet to spend a penny on a John Lamerton book.
Stuart's good at promoting you. He promotes you a lot. He just doesn't give you his money himself.
Well, this is the strange thing, and I was saying to Ben earlier about this, that I encouraged Ben to join the 1% Club, having never been a member of the 1% Club.
Is that brilliant marketing or is that terrible because he's not done it himself? Answers on a postcard, listeners.
I think one of the first things I said in Big Ideas for Small Businesses, word of mouth is not a marketing channel. great to see that you're coming through word of mouth here, Ben. But
Yes.
that absolutely makes my point, because I can't control whether Stuart tells you about it or not, because I have no marks. I have no way of knowing that Stuart has read my book, liked it, experienced what 1% was. But if Stuart was a 1%er, then yeah, I could say there's a referral system. That is a marketing channel. But word of mouth, I don't control, and it is a dilemma, because I ranted in Big Ideas for Small Businesses about exactly this, because most small businesses do exactly that. What's your greatest source of new business? Word of mouth. Great. Nothing you can control in any way. Now, what I've since learned, having written 5 books, how are most books sold? It is word of mouth. Most books are sold because someone reads a book, likes it, tells someone else about it. I'm like, oh shit. What do I do now? So I have to put something in place to try and kind of get some element of control, that I can get some good 5-star reviews on Amazon. I can encourage people, the reason I sent you 2 copies of the book, Ben, was so you could share one with a friend and encourage people to get people talking about it. But ultimately, for a book, I am at the whim mostly of word of mouth. However, anything else I can control, I'm just looking over at my flywheel here now, whether that's algorithmic stuff, promotions, paid ads, reader relationships, doing mass sales to conferences, or what I call shoe leather, which is basically posting on social media and maybe selling a book. That's the stuff I can do, that I control. And I just, for any listeners thinking about their own business there, what element of your marketing efforts do you control? How much control do you have over whether people refer, whether people come in, and your entire marketing ecosystem?
And we've talked about 1% Club, the network. Ben's obviously a member. Where can I sign up, and when can I sign up, and how can I get involved with that?
So again, bigidea.co.uk is my website. If you click the tab that says coaching on there, that will tell you all about the 1% Club. You get to meet some of our 1%ers. You get to learn exactly how it works, what's involved, everything like that. We open the door twice a year. So every March and September, we open the door to new members. Again, this is something that we've done, and we've probably done this for almost our entirety, but certainly for the last 7 or 8 years. So we're closed for new members 10 months of the year. So we spend 83.33 recurring % of our time looking after existing customers, and then 17% doing a little bit of marketing to new members. And again, it's most people do the opposite. Most people spend most of the time marketing for new business and a little bit of time looking after the ones they've got. We do it the other way around. We want to spend the majority of our time not looking over members' shoulders going, where's our next member coming from? But instead, how do we keep this base together? How do we make this network more valuable by making those connections, by introducing you, Ben, to another business owner who can help you, by introducing him to someone who can help him, by introducing them to maybe a lady who's inspired them, and just how do we make those connections to make the entire network more valuable, so that when we do bring new people in, it's valuable for them too, and they then become part of the core that we want to keep.
And you said word of mouth. Happy customers will promote for you.
Yeah, exactly.
If you put the effort into keeping them happy in the first place. And again, we've said this a few times. It's not that hard to figure this out.
No.
Not many do it.
Yeah. If you think about some of the stuff we've said today, just plan your work, write your plan. Simple. Just do what you say you're going to do. Simple. This stuff is not difficult. I think, and I'm going to pigeonhole myself here now, but a lot of marketers and, I'm going to say gurus. I do not class myself as a guru in any way. But a lot of gurus will try and tell you that the secret to success is something complicated that's behind their paywall. And if you pay them $1,997, but the first 50 people get it £500 cheaper, then you will know the secret of success. Well, actually, the secret of success is relatively simple. Look after your clients. Make sure your business model works. Understand that your business is centered around the values that are important to you. Make sure that you understand what's in it for your client, what's important to them, serve them. and serve them at every opportunity. Business is about solving problems. So understand the problem you are solving. McDonald's, convenience, value, consistency. Those are hunger. Those are the problems that they are solving. They understand the problem they're solving. The problem they're solving is not making gourmet burgers, not delicious food, maybe addictive, but they understand very, very well the problem they're solving. And then just solve that problem more. Make sure, again, the gutter company, they solved my gutter problem. They didn't solve my balustrade problem. They didn't solve my dirty windows problem. They haven't solved my dirty patio problem. They could, but they haven't even investigated the fact that they could solve those problems. I guarantee if you look harder at your existing customers, the more you get to know them, the more you'll understand other problems that you could solve for them.
And one last question from me, sorry, before we wrap up. It's kind of a question that we try and ask every guest. So what's one piece of advice that you would give to a parent that's also a business owner trying to juggle both of those things?
Stop juggling. That would be
Okay.
it. Stop juggling. One of my favorite books, Gary Keller, The One Thing, and he talks about, I think it's family, health, work as being juggling balls. He said, but work is the only one that's made of rubber. So any of the others, family, health, those are made of glass. And if you break those, they are shattered, possibly forever. They're certainly going to be scuffed. They're certainly going to be broken. They're certainly going to be damaged. But if you drop the work ball, it bounces and you can catch it again. So just be very careful. And I would say, yeah, don't juggle. Again, don't be that parent, email in one hand and a child swing in the other. Just be either all there for your child or all there for your business. And you can do that without guilt, because the more, the parent who is phone and swing feels guilt. They feel guilt that they're not devoting everything to their child. They feel guilt that they're not getting everything done in their business. Having that separation means you can give everything to your business and you can give everything to your children, but not at the same time. And there is no way that you can do both at the same time. You have to have that clear separation.
I think that's a fantastic piece of advice to end on. So, John, thank you very much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure and really insightful for me. And I'm sure it's been really insightful for everybody listening, watching. And we would love to have you on again at some point in the future. I think you've got a lot to share and a lot of stuff that people can relate to.
Definitely. Thank you guys for having me once again. I think this could have been a 3-hour like Rogan fest.
Easily.
I think it could have been. And I'm very mindful that just out of shot, my partner's actually been sat there really patiently. And I really appreciate
you keep talking about this separation of time. Time to separate the podcast now.
Yeah, and we've got a really busy day ahead for us as well. So on that note, I'm going to take a bit of time and go and spend the rest of the day with her as well.
Brilliant.
You enjoy. I've got very little on. I've got a plasterer coming round and a call with your business partner in a little over half an hour, just to explain myself for not getting me steps in and work on the sideline business plan. And it has been a real pleasure to have you on.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me, guys.
So hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks, John. So, Ben, that was probably one of the longest recordings we've done, but really, really interesting.
Was it as long as Mark's the other week?
It was longer.
Was it? So John?
Yeah.
So John's is longer than Mark's. I will bear that one in mind. No, it was interesting. I learned quite a bit there. Always do when you speak to people of experience. But I quite like how he said, "When my door's closed, my door's closed," and my kids know at this time my door's going to open again. Yeah. So I might give that one a whirl, perhaps myself, because
I think that's really good when you are working from home. If you're working from home at some points, then your wife, your family, kids, whatever, anybody that's in the house, if you have that hard and fast rule that I leave my door open you're welcome to come in and chat. But if my door's closed, I'm doing something I really need to focus on.
Yeah, I work at home probably 50% of the time. I made a nice little office space in my conservatory, which is lovely in the summer. At this type of year, in the rain and the snow, it gets a bit chilly in the evenings, but I quite like that. I might try and do that.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm going to have to change how I introduce this podcast, because I
Why's
always
that?
talk about balancing parenting in business, and John's just gone on about it being a pendulum and swinging from one side to the other side, which isn't a balance. It's a continuum. So I don't know how I'm going to have to adjust the podcast, because I found that really, really insightful, actually, about not trying to juggle things.
No.
But work on one and then work on the other.
You see some mileage in being a swinger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll always happily be a swinger.
Especially if Mr. Lamerton recommends swinging as he does.
Well, I'm heading down Mr. Lamerton's way in the next kind of couple of weeks or so. So I might have to go and pop him and swing with him.
And swing. Yeah. Tell him his is longer than Mark's. Yeah.
Anyway, what are your plans for this week just before we sign off?
Same old, mate, back to the grind, isn't it? Just hopefully get another compliment from somebody. Be more organised with Valentine's Day, as we said earlier on. And I think just generally, the snow's about gone now, hasn't it? Although it's forecast not wonderful next week. So if it comes back again, enjoy the weekend as much as we can. I tend to clock off Friday lunchtime and then don't think about it again till Monday morning. So I don't really know.
Yeah, family time.
Honest. Family time. I've got a meeting with somebody Friday morning, and then it'll be very much wind down for the weekend. I tend to try and plan the following week on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
So I'll clock off lunchtime, spend an hour or so. What am I doing next week? Get the diary out and book it all in. So that's it, mate. Really, I'll bear in mind the whole
awesome.
When my door's shut, so be a little bit more rigid potentially with when I clock off.
Yeah.
But otherwise, normal standard week, which
normal weekend sounds
I like
good.
boring.
Sounds nice. Yeah. I know you like boring.
Non-eventful.
It suits your personality.
Well, that's why we get on, isn't it? I love boring. I'm actually we're trying to arrange a christening at the minute. Speaking of how me and you get on because you're boring, we're trying to arrange a christening at the minute. We've got the date and a few things booked, but I'm trying to find who I want to be a godfather, because I'm very fortunate to have quite a few friends, but I tend to attract heathens. I don't know many that are christened. I was like, fucking hell. So I know who I want, and we've asked him the other day, and he says, yeah, I've not been christened. Well, that's okay. You can be what's called a supporter.
The supporter,
so
yeah.
You still come along and have a bit of responsibilities and blah, 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 blah. However, in the eyes of the church, you're not a godfather because you don't believe in God, which is sort of fair enough, isn't it? So I'm thinking, right, good mates with him, good mates with him, good mates with her, good mates with him. You think, well, fucking no one's a Christian. So I've got to figure that one out. I'll give that one some thought, perhaps. But which of the heathens I'm going to take to the altar?
I was christened, but I've never been to church.
The vicar sat there drinking tea with me the Monday morning in our front room, and she said similar, there's an awful lot of people who are atheists make better Christians than half the ones who turn up to church.
Yeah.
That sounds about right, doesn't it? But on that note, you heathenous bunch, have a lovely weekend with your morally questionable activities.
I think it's time for us to wind up there. And if you like listening to either Ben's rants or Ben being boring, don't forget to follow us on Spotify or wherever you listen. Do also feel free to get in touch with your stories or top tips about how you balance your parenting business. You can either leave us a comment or drop us an email at podcast@parentingbusiness.com. Also, if you like what you hear, please share the podcast with other parents and business owners, and leave us a 5-star review, because it really helps show your support.
Leave us a 1-star review if you think it's shit as well. That's all right. Just get in touch.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think it's time to say goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. Was that 2 Ronnies?
You do that joke every week.
Do I? I thought I did the fleas up a camel's arse joke every week.
Oh, no, you've done the 2 Ronnies joke before.
Oh, have
we'll re-record the goodbyes. So, on that note, it's goodbye from me.
And when I can breathe, it's goodbye from him.
And we will see you next Thursday.
Adios.